The UFC is back in New York City at the world's most famous arena, Madison Square Garden, for their annual stop in the Big Apple. And it is for an incredible card. That is UFC 322, headlined by two title fights. Jack Della Maddalena defending his welterweight championship against former lightweight champion Islam Makhachev. And in the co-main event, Valentina Shevchenko, the women's flyweight champion, is putting her title on the line against one of the best women's fighters in the world. That is the former strawweight champion, Zhang Weili. And that is just two of an incredible five-fight main card. And I want to start with the main event because this main event is just not any. It is one of the best of the year. Such an intriguing matchup. And although right now you have the challenger Islam Makhachev as a minus 305 favorite, JDM as a plus 245 underdog, that doesn't tell the whole story because Jack Della Maddalena is coming off of an incredible championship victory when he beat Belal Muhammad, the guy that was favored against JDM, the former champion, and Muhammad, a guy who has trained in the past with Islam Makhachev and Khabib and that whole family tree. And that matchup featured Muhammad, who was really excelled in the wrestling department, against JDM, a guy who excels on the feet as a striker, pushing the pace and really just backing down his opponents and picking them apart on the feet. And that is what JDM did against Belal. Belal couldn't get going on the ground. He only landed 3 of 9 takedowns. And I think that performance really gave everybody a lot more hope for the future when JDM faces top wrestlers against a guy like Islam now, who excels on the ground when he pushes the pace, when he takes his opponents to the ground. His opponents normally can't get back up, but I think this one is going to be a whole lot different because JDM is not just a good striker, but one of the best strikers in the welterweight division history. He averages 6.84 significant strikes per minute, which is the second most in the welterweight division history in the UFC, which is just unbelievable. So his striking's on a different level, and his takedown defense, I think, will be an X factor in this one. He doesn't really get taken down a lot. Like I said, even when Belal took him down, he didn't kind of settle for any positions on the ground. JDM is always moving, always active, always trying to get back to his feet. He has a 69% takedown defense, which he will need to show off against Islam, who, as I said, is the former 155-pound champion, the best lightweight champion in UFC history, one of the best fighters and pound-for-pound fighters in the world right now. He has won 15 straight fights in the UFC. He hasn't lost in over a decade, and if he wins this fight, he would tie Anderson Silva for the longest winning streak in UFC history. So a lot is at stake for Islam in this one. He would be the 11th fighter to become a two-division champion, as 10 have done it in the past in the UFC. So this matchup is just, it really is a phenomenal one. Jack obviously is on an incredible winning streak as well. He's won 8 in a row in the UFC, but before that, he's won 18 total straight fights. Since he lost his first 2, he also hasn't lost in a long, long time. So two fighters that are in their prime, that are on incredible winning streaks with so much to gain. And I just think this has the makings to be an incredible main event fight. And I'll go with my pick right here. I'm going with the underdog. I'm going with Jack Della Maddalena to beat Islam Makhachev, who is a plus 245 underdog. That is Jack Della Maddalena. He's the champion. He's defending his belt. This is his division. And although Islam has filled out well at 170 pounds, I just think that Jack's physical ability and his pressure will be too much for Islam on the feet. Islam's never fought a guy this big on fight night, and I think that will be the difference in this one. Although I do think Islam is supremely talented and such a guy to beat, I think that Jack Della Maddalena is the guy to beat him and will be the first guy to beat him in a decade So I'm going with Jack. Valentina Shevchenko defending against Wei Li. This is another unbelievable fight. Shevchenko's won 10 title fights in her career. She needs one to tie Amanda Nunes for the most in women's UFC history. Zhang Wei Li, though, on a dominant stretch, has won 5 in a row with 4 title fight victories, coming off a win against Tatiana Suarez back in February. And she just continues to get better. Since she lost 2 in a row to Rose Namajunas, she has just transformed her ability each time she steps in the octagon. And Valentina Shevchenko, although she is 37 years old, she continues to prove that she's the best at 125 pounds for the UFC in the women's division. And I think Valentina Shevchenko is going to win this one as well. I think she's going to continue her second title reign at 125 pounds. And I think it's because she has more experience in this weight class. It's because I think she has a better, well-rounded game. Although Wei Li is the better striker, I think Valentina, she just is the more well-rounded fighter, and she's taller by 1 inch. She has a 2.5 inch reach advantage, or 3.5 inch reach advantage. And I think that will be the difference in this one. I'm going with Shevchenko to retain her title. Sean Brady, the pride of Philadelphia, is taking on Michael Morales from Ecuador. And Brady is the favorite at -142. You have Morales at +120, a slight underdog. And this is one of the closest fights in a long, long time. You have a dominant wrestler in Sean Brady. You have a dominant striker in Michael Morales. And I've been going back and forth on this one all week. Morales is 18-0. Brady's 18-1. Since he lost to the former champion in Muhammad, he's won 3 straight. He's coming off of a big submission win over Leon Edwards. And you have Morales, who has knocked out Neil Magny and Gilbert Burns in the first round in the past, year plus here. So you have 2 guys that are really inching their way very close to a title shot. And we've seen a lot of matchups where you have a great ground fighter versus a great striker. And we've seen many times that the great guy on the ground gets the edge. And that's where I'm going to go. I do think Michael Morales has a very good chance here. He does have a big 7-inch reach advantage, and he is taller, but I just think Sean Brady's pressure and his aggressiveness with getting his opponent to the ground, as he always shows, is on a different level. And Sean Brady maybe has more riding on this fight than any other fighter on this card, because he needs to win this fight. He needs to put on an impressive showing to earn a title shot in the future, because he's not the biggest talker. He's not the biggest self-promoter. So he needs to let his performance do the talking come Saturday night, and I think he will do just that. Moving on down the card, you have 2 more top 15 welterweight contenders. The former champion Leon Rocky Edwards taking on Carlos Prates from the Fighting Nerds. Another tremendous matchup. And although Leon Edwards is the +136 favorite to Prates is -162, I think Leon Edwards is going to win this fight, and that is because, like Shevchenko, he's the more well-rounded fighter. He isn't overly aggressive, which Prates is, and I think against a guy like Leon, he will be able to do, to me, what Ian Machado Gary did, who was the first guy to beat Prates and to end his winning streak last year. I think that Leon Edwards will be able to move Prates back and kind of neutralize his aggressive attack early in this fight, and the later it goes, I think it favors the former champion. He has lost 2 straight, but I think Rocky, people are sleeping on him. I think he's going to have a bounce-back performance, and I think he's going to beat Prates and move his way back up towards another title shot, because I just think his kicks, his striking is just, I think it's all around better. Prates does have the more does have the more knockout power, but I don't think that will matter in this one. Beneil Dariush, who missed weight, he weighed in at 157.2 pounds on Friday, taking on BSD, who is the favorite in this one at -185, but I don't think that's going to matter. I think Benoit Saint Denis is going to finish Beneil Dariush. I have BSD winning this fight by knockout or submission at -135 on DraftKings Sportsbook, because I just think he has shown that after losing 2 fights that he is not done competing at a high level. He is well on his way to working his way back up to 155-pound rankings. He submitted 2 opponents in a row, recently submitted Rufi in the second round back in September, and all 15 of his MMA victories have came by finish. And so I think we're going to see that once again. Although he had a lot of great knockouts early in his UFC career, he's shown that when it gets to the ground, he is tremendous there as well. A couple notable ones on the prelims. I think Bo Nickel also is going to win by finish against Rodolfo Vieira, who is a great veteran, a really good fighter on the ground. But I just think Bo Nickel's skills are on a different level. Bo Nickel seems hungrier entering this fight. A lot more people are doubting him. Is he still a great prospect? Does he still have championship aspirations in his future? We will find out, but I think the former Division I national champion will show out come Saturday night. This card is just spectacular from the early prelims all the way up until the main card. We have 2 title fights, 3 more ranked matchups on the main card. I can't wait. This was my UFC 322 prediction and previews. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. I'm Ryan Wohl, and I'll see you next time.